Okay. I said, "Are you calling from the White House? Are you the same guy?" And he goes, "No, I'm nowhere near up that high." Well, it turns out that it was because his boss, Rich, is a special envoy. So that's how the message got, went around. But it's still interesting to me that Tucker Carlson found out to interview me. And when I asked Tucker this, he couldn't remember where he had heard about my case. So he couldn't remember if he'd heard about it because my case was going to be dismissed or if he'd just heard about my case. Does that make sense? And he says that all of his messages get deleted because he's had his phone confiscated before, and so he has all of his messages on his phone are just on auto delete, like after 30 days or something. So when he went back through his phone, he couldn't, and he didn't remember what it was. He just remembered that he'd heard about my case and couldn't remember if he, I said, "Well, how good are your contacts?" That's, because did you find out that my case was going to be dismissed before I found out? Is kind of what I wanted to know. He goes, "No, I don't think my contacts are that good." Anyway, but at 8:35, I get a phone call from my attorney. And so she's calling me when I'm on the phone with this guy about a Tucker Carlson interview. So I hang up with him. I said, "Hey, I got to get this. It's my attorney calling." And she goes, "Hey, Kirk, what are you doing?" And I said, "I'm just sitting here talking to my mom." And she goes, "Oh, okay. Well, why don't you put it on speaker?" I'm like, okay. So I'm kind of like, what did I do now? That she wants to, because the last 2 times I had to go to jail, and so, what's wrong? What? And, so I wasn't surprised to get a phone call from her because it was just like, look, I'm meeting with her maybe later in the afternoon. She just wants to either move the time or, whatever. But anyway, and so she says, "I just got off the phone with the prosecutors." And I was like, "Prosecutors, all of them?" She goes, "Yeah, all 3 of them called me." And I was like, "Oh, that's unusual, isn't it?" And she goes, "Yeah, I was really worried that, you had done something." And she goes, "But it's just the opposite. They got a call from DOJ and DC and they're dismissing your case."